discussing all things Ordinals, Bitcoin, and more. Let's get back to the Orange Cubicle.
Welcome to Orange Cubicle, everybody. I'm Block. Here with the crew, J25112, Knox, and Mumbling. Sorry, let me just bring this up. It's Nakamoto's on BTC. And yeah, we're just going to have a casual conversation here about a variety of things, including last year in Ordinals and everybody's projects. And we'll just go over some of the recent events. So here we go.
Cool.
Knox, welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Block. Thank you.
Mumbling Bearded Freak, how you doing?
I'm doing great, man. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, so we all got stoned. Yeah.
Oh my God, did we ever? Holy shit. I don't know about you guys, but we got stoned all right.
Did we all hodled? Did we all hodl?
For the
I
most
sold
part.
a couple,
Yeah.
but I got most of mine.
I think we sold half our bag so we could, get a little bit of liquidity
Get ready for the
saved up
next thing.
because we got.
Yeah, that's
Well, I mean, I'll give a little bit of alpha. We're putting something massive together right now, so yeah, that's it's gonna need some liquidity for that, but it's gonna be fucking dope.
cool. Well, yeah, before we get into the future, how about you tell us a little bit about the past and SkullX and what you've been doing over the past year?
Absolutely nothing. Just trying to rug as much as I possibly can. And it's been working well. My community members keep me giving their sats and, it's great. But, no, yeah, I mean, I essentially took over in 2022. The project's been around since 2021. Yeah, just kind of pivoted to Ordinals in February of, 23 pretty heavily.
Yeah, really.
Yeah, that's when we got the Cyber Raiders together. It was the first 333 collection, sub 100K, sub 50K even. Just been building all sorts of stuff since then, trying to experiment with the tech, and get creative with everything that's available to us. And anything, any interesting narratives that we can take advantage of, like Cursed or, special sats or whatever it might be. Just kind of like delving into that. So, I mean, yeah, we've just been doing all sorts of stuff with that. And, our Cursed collection has the only 2-digit palindrome Cursed inscription, which is fucking cool. It's also the only block 666 Cursed collection. I mean, it's just fun stuff like that you can't really do anywhere else. And we just, been trying to take advantage of that in the best way we possibly can.
Yeah, Knox. So I think you got a interesting narrative. Can you dive deep into like the origin story, or just briefly like what happened with you taking over? Because a lot of times projects get taken over by other people they don't really do successful, let alone do they even get taken over. So can you talk more?
Yeah, man. Yeah, no, I mean, so like the artist and the original dev never left. Their project manager were, the guy that was like kind of like running everything. He was the one who left. So they were looking for someone to do that job. And I mean, I don't know, we have a community of people who just like really, really like the art. So as long as we had the artist still there, it was kind of like an easy thing to, jump into, I would say. But, yeah, I mean, like, I think like once you have, a solid group of people that have been through like the ins and outs of like a bear market, and you've just been hodling, and you're past like the floor price talk and the, when's the dev team going to do something kind of bullshit that, a lot of these new communities kind of get into. Then, I mean, you end up having like a really solid crew of like not even just community members but friends, right? So it's I think it's pretty easy to take advantage of that and show the value proposition of that to other people, just have been trying to onboard as much as we possibly can and try to create value through this new ecosystem that is Ordinals, which I think we've been pretty successful at so far. And I mean, like that's just the entire goal. Like, I want to see anyone who's part of SkullX win. I mean, that's literally it. And in that I win too. Like our team wins as well. Like, and there's so many people that are here to like literally just extract as much as they possibly can, and it's like, I mean, there's a way to, I guess, I mean, because trading essentially is a zero sum game, right? So it doesn't. I mean, at a certain point, you're extracting in some way, right? But I think there's a way you can do that with like your community, for example, where you can all kind of win together, and build something that's a little more substantial than just, a fucking hype rug that, people, are just losing money on, or
one and done. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. There's a lot, I mean, especially with Ordinals, right? Like there's just a lot more substance to everything you can be doing here, versus it being on other chains, etc.
In addition to the permanence of the ordinals, right?
Oh, totally. Yeah.
The permanence. So,
well, you really have to get creative with that stuff too, and to make something that's like really cool. I feel like in terms of like narrative and artwork and everything along those lines. So I think that like the market definitely does appreciate that. I mean, especially with collections like Goosenals that have like a really interesting, like, Dimitri just dropped this generator and you guys like jumped in. We're like, let's do this. This is fucking cool. So I think that there's something behind that, right? And I know people love it, right? So we do too.
How big was the window from like when you first heard about Ordinals to when you guys inscribed the collection? Because you guys are in that 50K zone, so there's like a week, 2 weeks there from like zero
setting up a node, indexing, like
it was a crazy fucking week. Like, so the dev that I was working with at the time, well, first, like we heard about it like end of January-ish, like when it first started out, like it was popping up on alpha groups. And I was looking, I was like, I've seen like counterparty shit. That didn't do anything. Like, who cares about, Bitcoin NFTs? That's not going anywhere. And then it started getting like a little nuts. So in like we started seeing like the mempool go crazy. We started seeing, it all over the timeline. Holy shit, there's like sales happening here. So, honestly, like initially it was like, because we were, I mean, for lack of a better term, a dead project, right? Like we didn't really have any hype going for us. We just had this cool collection on ETH, which we still have. So we were looking to like pivot as much as possible with the market movements and just kind of create some sort of recognition so we could just show people that we have this dope community with great art. Anyway, so we saw this, and then I told my dev, I was like, okay, like, dude, well, sorry, actually a community member pointed it out and he was like, hey, like this would be cool if we actually did something with this. And then I took a look at it again and I was like, okay, yes, we should be doing something. And that was like, I think inscriptions were at like 12,000 at that point. And then, so I told cause I am not a techie guy at all. So I told my dev, like, okay, figure this out, check this out. I sent him the Ordinals handbook. He didn't sleep for like 2 days. And then he's like, okay, I get this now. And then he downloaded, he got the node, and that took like another like 2 or 3 days. And then, we had to figure out like the art as well. So we were trying to do that at the same time, and try and do something low file size because our other art is like, 2 or 3 megabytes per file. So obviously that was never going to work. So we're like, how do we pivot this? And obviously, you go back into the pixel art kind of thing.
It's crazy where the tooling has come in that time.
Dude.
Since then, it's crazy.
It really is wild when you look back, man. Like, and just we're talking like over a year ago now, and it feels like at least 10 have passed. I feel it's just like been fucking crazy. No, he looked into it, and then he basically didn't sleep that week and he got it up together for us. We inscribed it, and then we like took a break for a little bit and we launched it on ETH actually. So we minted it on ETH, and basically had a redeemable, burnable pass so you could claim the Ordinal. Cause, keep in mind at the time, it's like literally like Ordinals wallet and Sparrow were like the two things. And that was at a time where Ordinals wallet was getting a ton of FUD as well. Everyone's like, they're storing your seed phrase in the browser. They're doing it's like, this is not safe. Like, don't put your shit. So everyone like in my community, especially, which are like ETH maxis, they're like, why? I'm going to keep it on ETH forever. Even myself, I was like, and then, Yeah, I know. Eventually, just kind of like started getting developed a little more. Xverse came out, which is pretty solid. Magic Eden did, and then we eventually started burning over. BTC Machine sent us airdrops, so that was a really nice incentive. And shout out to those guys because they're the reason that we have so many runestones today. It's because we were custodying Cyber Raiders in individual wallets with BTC Machine airdrops, which we ended up like cutting off in like May of last year. So yeah, we ended up with a
What do you mean
hell
cutting off?
So we said, while we were sending them all out, every time you burnt a Cyber Raider, like on ETH, we would send you the Cyber Raider and all the airdrops that it was being custodied with. So in May, I believe we were like, okay,
So you were basically BTC machines with the Cyber Raid. Is that what you see?
were there whip? What do you mean?
No, with the Cyber Raider. You
Oh
would
yeah.
everything.
So
Wow.
yeah, so you got a virus, a land, Zbit, and like 3 of like the equipment things. But
Armor. Yep.
yeah. So
Wow, that was a great deal.
it was awesome. So it was a really good, encouraging thing for everybody to start burning and coming over to the Ordinals side. So yeah, so I mean, but it just got to a point where it was like, okay, we're like sending out like 10 ordinals for every one of these burns, and this is like we're starting to lose money on this now. So we're like, okay, guys, you've got like a month, do this, and we'll send it over to you. But until then, like after that, like that's it, we're done.
And that's when fees started spiking and everything. Yeah, you had to make a cutoff decision eventually, right? And it just pushed them over the edge. For sure. No, thank you very much for sharing. I want to get it over to.
Sorry, I'm talking too much.
No, it's all good. And we've talked in spaces so many times. We get rolling. It's natural. Yeah. So yeah, I just want to get it over to Mumbling Bearded Freak and learn more about NakaPepes. So yeah, if you could give us a little TLDR about your project. I've been peeking at the timeline. We're interested to learn more.
Yeah. Well, we like originally we started pretty early. We found out about Ordinals day one when Rendell came on Clubhouse and told us about the dick butt, and he was offering it up for people for 1 BTC. And American Hodl fumbled the bag, and he said he would buy it, and then he was just like didn't do it for another couple of days, and then inscriptions started popping off, and Rendell was like, I think I'm gonna
maybe
keep
I'll
this
hang
one.
on to this.
Yeah, maybe I'll hang on to this for a little bit. So yeah, we heard about it early.
I wonder if Block would have bought it back then for that. That'd be a tough one that early. Yeah.
No, it's so early. So tough.
Sorry, keep going.
Oh, no, you're good. So, me and my 2 co-founders, Teddy and Jimmy, we were all like, oh, let's put something together. Like I've been like a counterparty artist. I know Knox likes to always talk shit about counterparty every time I see him on a space, but that's all good. Yeah. So, and then Jimmy also has launched some stuff on Counterparty before too. So we've done that, and Teddy's, been in the space for a while. So we put together Nakamoto's on Bitcoin, which was like Satoshi's quotes, like in a 10K collection, and Rendell helped us put that together. So we had someone like with a node that be able to scribe. So we got there pretty early. Like some of them got stuck in the mempool, and then we ended up having to RBF them, try and untangle them. Like 4 of them got lost to miners, 2 of them got burned. So it was early days.
Good old
fun.
days.
And then from that collection, like we wanted like kind of a story to play out with our, like we were planning on doing 4 collections. And so the first one was like Satoshi images and like the quotes from Satoshi. And then another one was just these eggs. There were egg Toshis that we dropped to all the Nakamoto holders. And then those kind of were supposed to like, I mean, you couldn't really do it at the time. Like now we could do it with recursion, but back then they were like a hatch into the NakaPepe V1s. So that's what happened. Those were all dropped to the Nakamoto's on Bitcoin holders. We minted a few extra ones and minted those out too in Discord on spreadsheets back in the day. And then we eventually, when Magic Eden launched, we did a partnership with the hair Pepe artist from Rare Pepes, Ion Lon, who put together a piece from us called Smooth Commander, which we also ended up dropping half to the OG Nakamoto holders, and then half we launched on Magic Eden and sold. And then we kind of like we're trying to work on a certain like a project that kind of fell through for a bit. So we were figuring out what we wanted to do in the space, and we were working on the kind of working on the ghost face thing a little bit in the background, like putting it together and doing it. And we're like, well, we want to expand the holder collection. Like, we want to get our community more active. So let's also launch like a super cheap Nakamoto V2, like use all the new technology that's been out since Ordinals originally launched. And we did that. We can add like recursive, like have really high quality art on there, and, do parent child with the traits and adverse stats and stuff like that. So we, put that together and launched the V2s. And now we got the Ghostface collab coming up with Skrilla. We're pretty hyped about it, and it's going to be dope.
Nice. Yeah. Can you go into that a little bit more? Like, how'd you start interacting with Ghostface Killa and Skrilla, and just like maybe dive into that a little bit more?
Well, I know Skrilla from like the XCP stuff and fake rares.
Cool.
And doing that. And same with Jimmy. Jimmy's like original. So Jimmy's the one who's got the connects with, Ghostface, and he's done this. Yeah. And he's actually did this before. Like, I don't know if you saw Ghostface post, but he actually did a drop on fake rares as well.
Okay.
Back in 2021. It might have been 2022.
Cool.
Like around one of those. Yeah. You should look it up. It's pretty dope. Skrilla did the art for 2 of the pieces, and then there's another really famous or well sought after rare Pepe artist called Mr. Hansel, and then also Indelible did the other pieces. So there was 5 pieces they launched. One of them was a 101. Was like there were the rules for fake rares at the time. You couldn't have a 101, so it was 21 pieces, but they were all auctioned off together. And Starry Night Capital, I think, bought that for about $250K in the auction on there. So that was one of the biggest launches on Bitcoin at the time. So we had that connection in Skrilla, and so we kind of started talking to Skrilla about it and talking to Ghost, and we wanted to put it together, and just kind of happened that way. And we think it's going to be pretty dope. You'll be able to use the music on blockchain in any way you want. So if you want to like put together a recursive collection yourself with your own art and like remix the piece or whatever, it's all good to do that. You just can't like, throw that shit on Spotify or whatever and try and gain views,
Right. Or if you want to like loop it into your game or have it be like the end credits or something or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. As long as it's in the blockchain space, you're good to go.
Okay.
So it's like a full song, full unreleased new song, or
it's not going to be a full song. It'll be like a couple verses, little clip thing.
Like under a minute, probably.
Yeah, probably around like a minute, 45 seconds, something like that. Skrilla is going to be doing co-production on it, so that'll be pretty dope as well as the art.
Nice. What?
I'm sure
when you
like?
Sorry, go ahead.
Oh no! I said I'm sure he'll put some like dope Bitcoin stuff in the feed as he always does.
Mm-hmm.
So 10K is kind of a large collection. What do you? Why did you guys choose that amount?
We just wanted to offer it to everyone, and it's going to be free, so not going to be expensive. We think it'll be pretty easy to mint out, and we're seeing a lot of demand for it. So
yeah, free is good. Free is always good.
Yeah,
I'm pretty hyped about it. Actually, I've seen a lot of good. Everybody's excited.
Yeah, what I've noticed in Ordinals is everyone's about like the 30 to 40 to 50 range. We don't have all those young Solana kids over here, so like,
you got to bring back the oldies and goodies.
Yeah, all the oldies. Everyone's all excited about the oldies more because everyone's the old head here, which is pretty dope. It's nice. It's like interacting with founders and stuff, and they're, like, oh, I got to go take care of my kids right now. I'll be right back, man, and stuff like that. It's like more normal than these like little DJing kids I can't keep up with on Solana and shit.
Is the song and the art and everything finalized? Like, is there a date, or is it still kind of being worked out?
It'll be before the halving, but we're still putting it together.
Yeah. Last minute stuff. Cool. So most of it's there, just the last pieces or whatever.
Yeah, we just gotta like throw it all together.
Definitely.
Inscribed.
Well, yeah. Are you doing a whitelist using a launch pad, or are those part of the kind of last moving pieces?
Yeah, we're kind of trying to figure out what the whitelist is going to be like for for the first sure it'll be like our holders will get on whitelist phase 1, and then like Skrilla's holders too with his old ordinal stuff, like some fake rares and
shit
like that. So that's what we have on the books, and then
like we'll move to phase 2 and figure out what communities we want to throw those out to. Sure,
For
we'll
sure.
consider geese.
It look like you guys are launching an Ordinals bot, right?
Yeah. We're gonna be working with them to put it together. They helped
Okay.
us with the NakaPepes V2s, and we really like. They did some fucking magic with like what's it called, compression of the art and stuff. Turned out so good.
Runestones, delivery.
Yeah, and like if they're just crushing it right now. I think they're really the spot to do recursive stuff and what we want to do and how we want to put it together. The rough and the
Just don't buy an uncommon,
freaking
okay?
awesome.
But that's all right. Everybody makes their own price points. No, that's
Right.
cool. Definitely looking forward to it. Yeah, we would be eager to get some honks for the goosenals if we can. But yeah, just let us know if we can help with that. So I guess we'll transition. I appreciate like everybody talking about their projects and things like that. So if we can just kind of move into more casual, what has like maybe surprised you in the past year of Ordinals the most? I guess we'll go to Knox since he had a little breather.
Yeah, I'm not good with the breathers, man. You gotta watch out. What surprised me the most? Jeez, God, I guess like how violent
or stood out to you, whatever you want to. Yeah,
I feel like how like violent the movements are. Like when we have these like kind of bull moments, it's like the amount of liquidity that comes in is just fucking insane.
0 to 60 in no time. Yeah.
Yeah, man, it is just wild. And when people are like FOMOing, it's like that, like prices are going nuts. Like I cannot believe how much some of this stuff is going for already. Okay, I'll pivot and say that this is what surprises me the most. Just how much this ecosystem has grown and developed so quickly. And then on top of that, there's like still so many catalysts that are to come. Like there's still like, we still don't have like the Beeple sale. We still haven't seen like retail come in. We still haven't seen the halving happen. We still haven't seen like interest rates being reduced, or maybe that happened today. I don't know. I wasn't paying attention, but,
I think they stay the same, but yeah, that's a longer term thing.
Hey, yeah, so I like there's so much to come, and like it's already blossoming in this huge way. And I feel like while this is kind of like bull market vibes, like there's, I think that we haven't seen anything yet. Like if you compare the volume, I think Domo posted something in January or something, and he compared the volume of ETH NFTs in 2021 versus now with the Ordinals. It's like not even close. It's like 5 or 10% of what it was. So it's like, I think we have, I don't know. We're in for a fun ride, I think I'll say. So that's what I'll say to that.
For sure. Mumbling Bearded Freak, you want to chime in and then we'll kick it to the other two hosts?
Yeah, I think that the ebbs and flows, like what Knox was saying, was surprising to me too. Like it's like up and then down for months and then up for a month and down. It's like you go through a full Bitcoin cycle in the matter of 4 months. Every 4 months, so we've gone through 3 full cycles now. Ordinals being dead and then Ordinals coming back. But yeah, I think coming up is going to be pretty crazy. I think there's so much money flowing around, like Bitcoin money flowing around in Seoul right now. I think, they're making a ton of gains like on BOMI, and I think a lot of Bitcoin money was flowing around there, and you're just going to like see a lot of that flow back into Ordinals, flow back into stamps, flow back in all these like Merlin, all this Bitcoin stuff that's coming up, and it's going to be a fun few months, and we'll see what happens. I don't know if I'm as bullish as rate cuts as Knox, because I hope they just stay the same for months and months and months.
What? Okay, why is that? Just curious.
Usually when you have rate cuts, it means like something's not going well in the economy, right? Like they're trying to
create stimulus. Yeah.
They're trying to create liquidity. So it's like it could be good sometimes in like certain instances, but most of the time that's not the best sign. Usually the market pumps the hardest when rates just stay the same and everything's going
consistency.
Good.
The market likes consistency. Yeah. I think a little bit of an exception because it has risen so fast recently, but that's a great point. I was just curious why you said that. For sure. 1 and 2, you want to jump on what's jumped out to you over the past year?
I think what jumped out to me was probably the airdrops. I like the airdrops a lot better on BTC. because they can't web you or anything like that. I like the permanence on chain. I'm just excited about Ordinals in general to see where the space is going. Like they're saying, and Ordinals and cryptocurrency in general, we're going through these cycles a lot faster. But it looks like on Ordinals, it's like these microcycles that we're going through faster than we did in the mainstream, and that may change when more people are onboarded, kind of like Bitcoin in the early days with the extreme volatility being not as many players in there.
90% drops on any given day.
Yeah, being a lower price, so people can manipulate the price a little more. Yeah, I'm excited about it. I think that's what creates generational wealth.
It's definitely steaming up. Go ahead, Block.
Yeah, for me, it's like the violent movements are expected, but it's the stickiness of certain things, like JSON, is a surprise that like not even
You're
Casey,
surprised about the
nobody.
JSON? You're like the JSON maxi, man.
Well, no, so I was like I was a laser-eyed maxi when Ordi hit. I remember just sitting there watching all the Ordi mints, just like I was just watching the mempool just filled with ornaments. This is the stupidest shit I've ever. And yeah, each press of the button, at that time, like, now is like 70K, right? And, you could have just sat there. It was 2 days. You just press the button. But then that just turned into bitmap and everything else. And now, like, Domo and other parties are taking it like steps further. Like, phase one's just starting now. So that's just weird and exciting. And then Casey's pivoted into like trying to build this like really cool UTXO shitcoin casinos that like everybody's like super excited for too, right? So everything just got speed ran extra fast, and we're just doing everything faster. I don't know. It's just the times we're in, I guess, but it's hard to get used to. You got like every day something new, every week you got to pivot. It's wild. So that's what stood out to me. I don't know if it's like a surprise, but it is what like definitely like what stood out to me is just the more ridiculous the better a lot of the time. And yeah, degeneracy reigns supreme always, like just always.
Yeah. And I'll just put my 2 cents in. I came across this today. Casey put out, for everyone working on runes integrations, please keep in mind that the halving is the deadline for us to produce a finalized working implementation, and there is no guarantee that it'll be stable before that point. So yeah, I think he's kind of starting to hedge his bets with the clock ticking down. So, this is what happens in coding, right? Like you never know where it's going to land. You never know how fast it's going to go. So, I think that this like pre-mining, meta has definitely put a big stone on his back. So, hopefully he can deliver. It'll be an interesting month to see.
Dude, yeah, what's it like to be Casey, right? Like, what's that like?
Must be crazy. But what you were saying, Block, about the Ordi thing, this is something that blows my mind because we were inscribing Hell Raiders when that was happening, and we were competing with everyone inscribing Ordi.
What that meant?
The funny thing is, if we had just never done Hell Raiders and spent like, I think we spent like, 0.6 at the time or something like that, getting these up.
Oh, wow.
Cause we wanted those inscription numbers. We wanted to front run the pool. But if we had just done like inscribed Ordi instead, we would be like on a fucking yacht right now. Like, like it just
opportunity cost, right?
Yeah, man. It's
crazy.
You
sure you wouldn't have been one of the ones shaken out though? Like,
it's a good point. I mean,
$2. Yeah.
I was in your boat, Block. I was like, this is like the dumbest shit I've ever seen. Why would I ever buy a meme coin on Bitcoin and this amount of friction?
Yeah.
But here we are.
Yeah. And it's gonna get
still
worse.
Dumb, but it's great.
Yeah. And it's getting worse. right?
Oh yeah.
Well, and I'm kind of interested in Mumbling Bearded Freak for someone that's a little more of an outsider. We haven't heard your take. So what's your kind of take just generally BRC 20s, Runestones, that whole, debacle that's running two trains into each other in the next month?
Oh, well, I mean, I had the same reaction originally as Block did. Like, I was just like, this is so dumb. It's so dumb. And then I saw it happen. And then I saw how fast it minted out. I was like, okay, this is something. Like, once already minted out within 24 hours, I was like, what the fuck? And so then I started minting some Pepe. And I did that. And it was just fun, like minting them and getting them that way. And it just seemed like free and fair. And you just saw like why it pumped. I think like the way China like ecosystem is, where they're like a communist country, they don't have like access fully to free markets and stuff like that. This is just like the most free and fair like mint process you could ever possibly get. And I don't think even Domo like realized how free and fair it would be when he made it. So like it just like sometimes stuff like that, like even though it's not the best protocol, but it
unintended consequences. Yeah, that's the
Yeah.
economic term for it, for sure.
And yeah, I don't know if Casey will be able to mirror that. Like, to be honest, like I'm not too optimistic on Casey's game theories, theoretical. Like, so like way back in the day, like May 2022 or whatever, I like joined the Discord when there was like 20 people in there because I was like rare sat. Like even I heard about rare sats on what's it called?
On their
Clubhouse. So I
podcast,
was like,
I believe.
no, on Clubhouse. So we were just
okay.
talking about it because like, I we hang out there all the time and there's like a lot of devs in there and stuff like that.
Okay.
And they'll just like give us Bitcoin update news and stuff like that. So I went in there and I was like, oh, I want to see if I have any rare sets. Like, let me do this. And I was just like, you're like, oh, you have to download a node. You have to download this weird wallet with the
do an
node.
index
And
yeah.
Yeah, I was like, all right, guys, are we ever going to make a usable wallet for this? And he was just like, and they were just like, oh no, like that wasn't going to happen. So I was like, okay. And I left. I was like, oh, I'm never going to do this because it's just too much friction for me. And I think not having that wallet initially, like we kind of see the consequences. Like it gave a lot of people a lot of advantage very early on. And so like he didn't think that out, his game theory. So I don't know how well that'll play out with runes. Like I think it's still going to pump hard. I just don't know about the long term with it.
It has a hype
not.
cycle, but does it have longevity? Right.
Yeah, like it might just be that BRC20 wins out like because of that, and like the game theory is just too strong, and the free and fair is just too strong. So I don't know. We'll see what happens.
So I just got a quick follow up and then pass it over to anybody else. But since you've been around a little bit more, and if you want to give some more context in that, but why do you think like Ordinals and maybe BRC20s or whatever this time around has been different than like you mentioned with Counterparty or other implementations like stamps and et cetera in the past?
Dude, I don't know. To be honest,
that's fair.
Know.
That's fine. Nobody really knows, right? I'm just curious
like,
for somebody that has been in
different.
different.
When I first, because when Rendell came on, like, and he told us, I was watching Ordinals.com and I was seeing them in it. I just was seeing people mint rare Pepes and like not that high quality art. A few of them, I was like, what is this? Like, is it really going to do anything? Like, this is, it's just going to clutch it up.
Yeah.
But, well, the dick butt was quality. Like, come on, like,
right.
That was perfect. But like, there's some grainy ass pictures in the first few hundred because people were just figuring it out, like there wasn't optimization and like the quality we have now. So like, I didn't know, but I think Counterparty kind of like struggles because like there was one dev on there for so long and they were just like maintaining it, like not real updates, which they're fixing now. They're adding new stuff. They're going to add they're trying to implement something that Casey's doing with runes into Counterparty and add like PSPT capabilities and stuff like that. So you can actually sell on Magic Eden, where it's like, cause that's kind of the difference between runes and Counterparty. Cause they're both like transmitting data through the opcode, right? Like that's how they're like determining token balances and stuff like that. But what Casey's adding, which is pretty smart, is, he's attaching that to a specific UTXO. So you have to like destroy the UTXOs in some way. I'm not quite sure, but what that allows for is for PSPTs and like adding those PSPTs on chain. Whereas like Counterparty, we have like these weird dispensers, like Like if you wanted to, like
timing
you could like
matters a lot, and yeah,
you could like throw up a dispenser and then someone could put money in and you could close that dispenser with a higher fee and someone could like bring like it doesn't happen like barely ever in Counterparty because we're such a small community and people like will
but it's
hunt
an
you
attack
down.
vector you know of, right? If it
Yeah,
was to
we'll
grow and
hunt you.
scale, yeah.
Yeah, but it also like adding that allows you not to do like a dex like Counterparty has. Like that's kind of the dopest thing in my opinion of Counterparties. You have like this really cool dex that allows you to like trade asset for asset trade, and that's why XEP exists, is so you can like use that dex. Because Bitcoin, you can't really. It's like very hard to use a dex unless you have Bitcoin up like the whole time, or at least it hasn't been like figured out totally. So like on Counterparty, if I wanted to like put a dex order up for Bitcoin, I would have to like have my computer open and have my wallet open to be able to sign the transaction when it's happening for that. Whereas like if I want to just trade assets for assets through the system, I can just do that through the DEX and it doesn't have to actually have the Bitcoin wallet open. So, those are the differences. And,
You wanted to,
we'll see what happens.
Yeah, you were starting to say less friction because that's interesting to hear somebody say less friction because we hear about how much friction, Ordinals has compared to other ecosystems. So, like, can you expand upon that?
Yeah.
I mean, have you tried to use Counterparty? Like,
well, no, I know, but it's interesting because, right, like Counterparty, and then it went to EVMs, and we learned, like, okay, this is how it could be smoother, but there's security flaws, right? And now it's coming back to Bitcoin, and we want that EVM style simplicity and like streamlinedness, but with the security of Bitcoin and the UTXO model, like some kind of in between, right? But even just somebody who's been around, been on a lot of different chains, right? Just to say that Ordinals, like the reason it's working well is because of the less friction. All we hear about is the friction of Ordinals, right? So sorry, 1 and 2, please. Yeah, expand on
I
that.
I was just talking about Counterparty
specifically. Yeah. No, it's
okay. Yeah, and to be fair, I think like Ordinals friction, like they must have not used a lot of other Bitcoin wallets because I think the Ordinals wallets, like Xers killed it, man. Like the reason why Stacks is the thing. I know, I think some of you guys over there aren't the biggest Stacks fans, but like the only reason why the Stacks is crushing right now is because they jumped into Ordinals and they just like Xers. I think is the best Bitcoin wallet out there right now. Like Leather's close, like it's so easy to use compared to other things like. Different. Like you may not have as much management like a Sparrow. Like Sparrow's clearly like you got all the tools and all this stuff, but for like user ease and ease of use, like Chris just crushing it, and they just keep on crushing. And I think that's why it's better. Whereas if it like we had, and to be fair, the Counterparty people that are working on it really hard. People are coming out with new tools right now, and they're implementing like new wallets that I think are a lot better. And it's having one person there with not much funding for years is like an impossible task to keep something maintained. Yeah. So it's like these guys got so much Stacks funding, and they just threw it into Ordinals and made a good project. And I think we'll see what Counterparty does, but I think they can add that there. And I think it's just also Bitcoin. Like a lot of Bitcoiners, like I actually don't use many other chains. Like I've always either done Counterparty stuff. I'll do a little bit of ETH here, a little bit of Solar there, like not much, but like I just like staying on Bitcoin. Like it's sound. I know I'm always getting sats back in the end, and just even the culture. Like I was saying earlier, like you have like a ton of old heads on Ordinals, and the same with Counterparty. You have like these guys, and they're just like dope memers that you're like expect are these little teenagers, but they're like these older guys. They're just chill as fuck and like meme as shit, but still have like families at home and still like do the right thing and still. Into sound
like
money.
A super giga brain like Rajan Dell, right? But he doesn't
exactly.
But yeah.
Exactly. Like that type of guy. So like I think that culture keeps people here. It's kind of why like you were talking about trade. Someone was talking about trading here. It's a zero sum game. I think in Ordinals specifically, that's been a big thing. Like you'll have a lot of those quick flips and stuff. But if you held a lot of the like early mints, if you held Goosenals from your mint, if you held frogs, like you're just crushing it. Like even though Frog's down a bit, you still probably got an Arsig, you still probably got Runestones. Like it's just like pays to hold off
or even experimenting, right? Like Knox was saying, we know our buddy Shikman Shaman was talking about, he was just like messing around with recursion and experimenting, and that would like move to a new wallet after he was tired of looking at his broken experiments. So it just shows like if you keep trying, like you can get some reward in the end. But 1 and 2, you had a point you wanted to make, so please get it in there.
Yeah, well, I think I was just talking about the XCP.
Okay.
And I was just saying the friction, maybe it is because of one dev and then, the funding, obviously, and I guess the dispensers, were something that had take time to get used to. And so, like you said, Xverse and Unisat, with them having these wallets, makes it more user friendly because in the beginning, you remember Ordinals had Sparrow and people who weren't as tech savvy, they fumbled the ball and it was very cumbersome. So since we're talking about it, the friction and things like that, obviously it's all relative, right? So I was just wondering how are we going to get more people, in on the Ghost Face Mint. Like you said, obviously I grew up listening to him, so I'm actually excited, to hear and to mint it. But what are we going to do to get more people from Web2? I see he has around like close to 1 million followers. We saw the French Montana one. His was a BRC 420 and it was, about $50 to download. Obviously this one's going to be a free mint. So what can we do, in order to get more people into Ordinals, especially since it's a free mint, but we know who the barrier to entry is. A lot of people that were listening to them that aren't in crypto, getting used to a wallet,
Getting sats.
yeah, all of that is kind of cumbersome. Are you going to do some, like, I don't know if somebody is advising him or anything, but is it going to be possible for him to like possibly put a link of, or a video of step by step how to buy a wallet? Because if we can get like 1% or a couple percentage of his followers in there, I think that will overall help the space.
Well, I mean, I think you'll be surprised that they'll just like figure out a way to do it themselves. So when Jimmy did the drop on Counterparty, like Ghostface fans were trying to figure out how to use Counterparty and figuring out wallets. We had some people come on Clubhouse and like ask how to do it and all that stuff. So I think it was fine to do that, but I'll definitely like talk to Jimmy, see if we can do something about it. I think that is a good suggestion. Like try and get more of these normies in and try and
yeah, and if we can help
find it easy
facilitate
to
that
use.
through Ordinal support desk or this, do a little video tutorial real quick on an off day, let us know. I'm open to it. I'm sure others are. That's the kind of content and things we want to do. So yeah, anything like that would definitely make sense if it, does with your team. So
Yeah,
but I think
for sure. You guys,
I think just like he's saying, like getting more Web2 people to comfortably move over would be helpful. So
Yeah, reducing the barrier to entry, right? Because like you're saying, some people are going to figure it out. Other people are going to be like, oh, I'll get around to
throw
it.
up their hands. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So if we can get like, have him put a thread on his page, on his main page, that could help get, a percentage of people. Or like, J25 said, if you want to point him to Ordinal support desk, we onboard people all the time. So, we wouldn't mind that in addition to, like you said, we could shoot a video and then maybe
You wouldn't mind that, huh?
Sing some songs. Yeah. 1 and 2 is going to drop some bars.
Maybe a concert, like, you're not going to be
just one song.
Cool.
No,
live.
No, that'd be cool. But yeah, if it makes sense, whether it's private call on the space, whatever, we're more than willing to help, big and little. Okay. No, this is good talks. So yeah, as we're kind of leading towards the end here, I guess we'll shoot it back to Knox and do a little round trip again. But yeah, where do you think Ordinals, Runes, BRC whatever you choose, but where do you think like this Bitcoin culture community is going after the halving? What are some things that you're going to keep your eyes on? Just lead us off, Knox.
Yeah, man, like fuck the whole ecosystem.
That's so far away, right?
Wow, yeah, God, like everything happens in like every hour. It's like another day passes. Yeah, man, I don't know. I think if you can pay attention to anyone that's like obviously not here to extract or be a rugger or whatever. There's a lot of people coming in, they see high liquidity, you're like, how much can I take from this? So stay away from that shit. But I think you're pretty safe if you're like betting on any like OG communities. Like you guys, obviously, or us, or anyone, man. Like fuck, any of these blue chip collections or orange chips or like pretty solid bets, I think, for the foreseeable future. I mean, obviously, I think everyone's expecting like a sell the news event after the halving. So we might see a bit of pullback, but after that, obviously, the assumption is gigapump. So it's going to be interesting to see how ordinals react to that in general. But as it went in the previous cycle, most of these things like kind of even shot up in price as well. And even as we were seeing, like, as Bitcoin was pumping to like all-time highs, like we had all these orange chip collections also pumping to all-time highs. It's like out of the market doesn't seem to give a fuck, and I don't know why, but it none of it makes sense, and that's okay.
Yeah.
But
well, yeah, it was interesting. After hours in the Ordinal Sport Desk the other day was giving props to Jake from Bitcoin Frogs, because he's like a super hodler, right? And he said, hey, usually you need to be a nimble trader to beat Bitcoin or whatever asset you're trying to trade against. But really in Ordinals, like you said, like if you just hodled, you probably did pretty darn well. Like there's some exceptions to the rule, but for the vast majority, like if you were able to grab a pretty good sized bag and hodl it, you're probably doing okay.
Pretty much, man. I mean, yeah, like
whether it was a little bit of this and that, or one big conviction play, or a few, or whatever, like you probably did okay.
No, I mean, like pretty much, like if you pretty much bought anything in like the summer, even or before that, it's like you're pretty much up at this point, whether it be from airdrops or from the collections themselves pumping. Because
shout out Leo for the quad keys. Save the quad keys.
Leo did the quad keys. Leo didn't do the quad.
No, he saved the quad keys.
Oh, he saved them.
It was an HTML, so you got one technically. Yeah,
I'm excited for this SkullX pump, because when I send my raider to myself, it mines runes, right?
Starting some propaganda.
We've got
raider rune,
raider runes, skull runes
on L2. There you go. Just merge it all together.
We partnered with the Taproot Wizards actually, and we activated OP Skull, which is much better than OP Cat. So
going straight to hell.
Exactly.
Nice. Mumbling Bearded Freak. What are you thinking after the halving? What's your take?
I don't know. We'll see. Like I said, if we start seeing rate cuts, we might have a little dip for a bit, but I'm more bearish than most. I think everyone's super bullish. I'm pretty bullish right now for the next few months. I'm bullish on Ordinals, like overall in general. I just think, everyone's getting so hyped right now. We're all pumped on runes. I think it'll rip. But, after that, we might see a little dip for a few, and might see another 4-month cycle there after that again. But I'm hoping not. I hope we
top
just like
bottom before more action or something.
Yeah, and I was a little more bearish until I saw like the action going on in Sol and how much Bitcoin action is going on in Sol. Like there's so many Bitcoiners over there right now, and I think anyone who's making gains right there is just gonna like bring it right over to Runestones basically, and like all these like we haven't seen any of these influencers
longer term plays of collections and quality.
Yeah. Like, well, that's always what happens after, right? Like what happens in these cycles, you see the token pump. It's been BRC before, but you'll see the token pump, and you see the collections pump right after that. You'll see like all these random collections you've never heard of before pump go like 10x randomly in one day, and then like 6 months later they'll be right back to the same, and then it'll do it again. It's just like you just see this liquidity flowing from like the token pumps back into the like quality projects on Bitcoin and Ordinals and stuff, and I think that's gonna happen, and also with like Bored Apes just taking a dump, aren't they? Like Ethan,
all these projects, honestly,
bro, they're just taking a dump.
That weekend of capitulation, like a week ago or so, was crazy.
Well, that was just that you could just tell that was just all coming into Bitcoin.
Oh,
like,
yeah,
all
Bitcoin just off the charts, and ETH is just
like especially in the Ordinals were fully pumping, and all the ETH were going. So like there's a lot of things that I thought I didn't think there would be as much capitulation on like,
and
that
like you were saying, Solana
side.
trading of tokens is like all-time highs. I think it's beating Ethereum lately. Like, yeah, whether you like it or not, I'm, whatever. I'm not a huge fan of not knowing if the chain will work on a day-to-day basis. That's a little scary for me, but I get it. Like the casino runs most days, so you're going to show up when it's there. By all means, place your bets.
Soul guys are Yeah, and the Soul guys are much more, and like there's more Ordinal people that are Soul people, and those guys came over than there are ETH
Yeah.
people that came over. Like SkullX,
There's
like
tons
a
of
few.
crossover.
Yeah, like but like for ETH on the east side, it's not as much. Like we have SkullX and them, and like a few others that chatted up and came over. But like otherwise, it's not as much. They've kind of been like holding on to their apes with Q Life for
I'm
quite a
curious
while.
what you guys think
Someday.
about that, though. Like, everyone, there's a lot of people here saying, well, okay, this is the ETH NFT bottom now, and this is like the, zig when everyone else is zagging moment. What do you guys think of that? I'm curious. I mean, I know my opinion, but
go ahead, Block. Start it off. I know what you're probably going to say, but I want to hear it.
Yeah, I just think it's maybe you get a dead cat bounce or something, but everything's just going to keep bleeding in Bitcoin like infinitely. Like it's just time, just going to keep grinding away. And then you got
unexpected opinion.
yeah, but like really though, you can see Solana already chewing away at it from the other side, right? So
You can see base shooting on it, like even on like ETH, like ETH layer twos are gonna pump, not the old NFTs. Like that's what's gonna happen, I think, in my opinion.
probably,
Great
yeah.
point.
Yeah.
1 and 2, jump in.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was over there scrolling Ghostface page.
No, it's all good.
What's going on?
Doing panda
what was
things
the
over
question?
there.
I saw he had edibles on his page and all of that. Man.
Too many distractions.
Right.
No,
right.
it's all good. Yeah, we were just discussing. Gosh, no, I can't even recall exactly.
Why do you think if you think that this is like the ETH NFTs are down,
ETH NFT bottom? Yeah.
Like because because Knox was wondering if because that's a consensus opinion right now that like ETH NFTs are,
or is it the time to buy the
down
blood and ride it back up or whatever? Right.
I mean, to be honest, honestly, I haven't really paid attention to ETH. I'm more of a Bitcoin rationalist. Now that I see a better technology on Bitcoin and we can do more things here, I think you would be a fool to reinvest in those. And yeah, you'll get those gains, but it's extremely saturated there. And my experience there, when I go back and I look at it and I see almost 50% of my NFTs are blank, I'm kind of upset about that, So I've gotten into people. What's that? I forgot it was called, but it was some 12-year-old that made whales. I can't remember what it was, but he made the news and all of that. So I bought into it. Some little kid, he got into it, and now where are they at? I mean, his name is
going to high school.
Yeah, right. He's in high school, right? But he'll come on Bitcoin, So I think that there's money to be made everywhere. But if I were you, I would be teleburning or moving over to Ordinals. And maybe I have a biased opinion, but I think Bitcoin is going to be the forever chain. Ethereum going back and forth with the proof of work, the proof of stake, but now that's problematic, and I rather stay on top of Bitcoin. So I'm probably not the best person to speak on that, but I do think we should. The smartest traders are going to move over to Bitcoin, I believe.
The kid's driving to high school in a Maserati, man. That's what
it. Right.
The teacher's parking it in valet. Yeah, when you have all these L2s
Bitcoin and round tripped it.
Yeah, truth, maybe. When you have all these L2s as well, right? They're bringing similar features as Solana, Ethereum, L2, the L2s off of Ethereum, but you can easily get to Bitcoin. So even as we're more Bitcoin centric, I think that those will have a lot of value prop. Imagine if they can just get a little bit of EVM, a little bit of Sol, a little bit of sex traders, a little bit of people that are already doing these things that aren't self-custody, teach them to self-custody, but also, hey, if you want to, there's Bitcoin. Let's head over whenever you choose. So I think that that's going to be a new one. And I know that we're very excited about like what Unisat and Open Protocol Index are building, but those things are going to take time with the programmatic modules and other things. So that gets really kind of into the weeds, but yeah. The things that happen whether it be L2s or other ones. I just kind of see it. I know we want to stay more on L1, but it's just a bridge that can bring EVM SOL assets to a place where they use Bitcoin. So, yeah, I think this has been a really great convo, and I really appreciate it, Knox. I think you got to get going here soon. So if we just want to do real quick closing thoughts, anything you want to put in for the last comment?
Or how people can find you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And I'll put that in the show notes too.
Yeah, sweet. Yes, SkullX NFT is the Twitter account. Knox556 is me. And yeah, we're just doing cool shit on Bitcoin, man. And I think everyone else should be. And that's, you know, the best projects you should be looking for, the ones that have really fucking dope community members and are just doing cool shit. Because there's a lot of grifters out there, a lot of people trying to take your shit, and you should look for the good ones out there. That's what I would say.
Yeah, just to chime in there, the people that show up every day, that's what I really like to see. Whether you agree with their project or where they're going or whatever, if they take the ups and the downs and continue to show up as Knox does or other community leaders do that choose to deal with the grief. At any point, anybody could easily delete their Twitter account. So I really like to chime in on that point and just say the people who show up every day are definitely ones to look out for.
100%, because those are the people that see the long-term potential in this, and they aren't just here to grift.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. Mumbling Bearded Freak,
yeah.
let's let you get in there before we wrap it up too. Thank you.
Oh yeah, man. I like it. It's hard to top what Knox just said right there. Like, it's pretty accurate. Like, support the guys who've been here like a long time. Like, there's a lot of founders who are like doing projects and like trying to launch V2s, because like early Ordinals, man, you had like it's like it was really hard to not make like more than like a 500 collection, right? So it's like you have small communities and they're trying to expand and really grow their projects. Like, you know, support those guys that have been here for like a year, a year, and like been grinding the whole time. So these guys like, you know, coming on, jumping on, like, you know, a lot of them are dope guys. I don't want to give that, but like, can you really support the builders in the space that have been here for a while? And, you know, look out for Ghostface and Rare Skrilla drop coming up. More details will come out.
For sure. And can you just shout out your Twitter handles real quick for us?
Oh, yeah. My Twitter is Mumbling Bearded Freak. Yeah, I don't want to spell it out, but you'll find me if you just search there. And then you can find Nakamoto's on BTC is the Twitter handle for the project. You know, give us a follow, and we'll be dropping more details there for the Ghostface drop and shit like that.
Perfect. And yeah, Block 1 and 2, anything to add?
I don't know. Just excited about runes and happy we all got stoned. Like, what could you say? Leonidas killed it, right? Like,
yeah.
Those things are
impressive.
0-5 right now. You know, everybody that was here last year got, well, almost. You know, there's people with 2 inscriptions or whatever. Like, that sucks, but yeah, a lot of people had 3, and yeah, they all got like 0-5 dropped on their head as long as they didn't sell it. Yeah, it's only been like 4 days, 5 days, right? It's crazy.
Yeah, if anyone has a generative XYZ wallet, don't forget to check those. I had one the other day.
Like board swaps, and yeah, all those. Cool.
All these like random ones over there earlier.
Yeah. I mean, I agree. I think, you know, even when we got front ran on some of these descriptions, if they were HTMLs or JPEGs, even if they became illiquid, I think Leonidas did I thanked him on stage. I think he just did everyone a solid on that. And I mean, it's the fairest it can possibly be. I would just say, like they're saying, you know, be vigilant. Don't connect to every site, because, you know, I've always told people that people want your bitmaps and people going to want your runestones. So if you guys, you know, everybody out there could just be more vigilant and not just randomly connect to these sites, and really just push these creators and builders to do airdrops. That's the safest way on Bitcoin right now. I'm not saying layer 2, but that's the safest way on Bitcoin. So, shout out to Leonidas for resurrecting and bringing more liquidity to even these wreck projects that we thought had VC funding behind it. And I'm not going to name specific ones, but, you know, just being in this space and being active and showing up every day, that's the thing, right? Even if somebody builds a project, it doesn't work out. If you held the project you still got a Runestone. So I think more meta is going to come, more projects are going to come down the line, catering to Runestones and catering to, just interacting with the network. You have boards already have something where they allow you to claim depending on how much gas you spend, depending on the inscriptions. So I really think that's going to be the way that people, projects get your attention. So just continue to participate, do your own due diligence and, just have fun.
For sure. Awesome. Well, thanks again, Knox, Mumbling Bearded Freak. A pleasure. Thanks for joining us at the Orange Cubicle.
Thanks a lot, guys.
And thanks for having us. Take care.
Cheers. And we are out.